Ever pondered why people make different choices when faced with the same options? How does one decide to trade a slice of pizza for a burger or a cup of coffee for a glass of juice? Well, the answer lies in the concept of indifference curves. Imagine two goods, pizzas and burgers. Now think about a person who loves both. The question is, how many burgers would this person be willing to give up for an extra pizza? Or vice versa. This is where indifference curves come into play. In the realm of economics, indifference curves are a way to graphically represent a consumer's preferences for two or more goods. Picture a graph with the number of pizzas on one axis and the number of burgers on the other. An indifference curve plotted on this graph would show all the combinations of pizzas and burgers that give our pizza and burger lover the same level of satisfaction, or utility as economists call it. Each point along the curve represents a different combination of pizzas and burgers that our consumer finds equally desirable. For instance, the consumer might find 2 pizzas and 3 burgers just as satisfying as 3 pizzas and 2 burgers. In this case, the consumer would be willing to trade 1 pizza for 1 burger and vice versa. This willingness to trade is known as the marginal rate of substitution, or MESRS. It's the slope of the indifference curve, and it represents the rate at which a consumer is willing to give up one good for another. The steeper the slope, the more of one good the consumer is willing to give up for a little more of the other. Remember, a higher indifference curve on the graph signifies a higher level of utility or satisfaction. This means that more is always better in the world of economics. Our consumer would always prefer to be on a higher indifference curve, where they have more pizzas, more burgers, or both. To summarize, indifference curves are a tool used to illustrate a consumer's preferences. They show all the combinations of two goods that provide the same level of satisfaction. The slope of the curve, or the marginal rate of substitution, represents the rate at which a consumer is willing to trade one good for another. And finally, a higher indifference curve means a higher level of utility or satisfaction. So, the next time you're deciding between a pizza or a burger, remember, your choice is a point on your personal indifference curve. And who knew? Economics could be tasty too.